Well, hello. I have a really good book today. I really liked it. It's called The Bezzle by Cory Doctorow. It's a new book from the library, February 2024. I believe that's the year we're in. And I can happily stand behind this one. See, I'm happy and I'm standing behind it, right? What do we have here is, well, it's a crime novel. It's basically a crime novel. It's a Martin Hench novel. This is Martin Hench number 2. There is another one that I've never read. I haven't read. I started reading, I heard Cory Doctorow talk, mostly I think on Rushkoff, Douglas Rushkoff's Team Human. And, I'm always quite interested in him, and he's, a comrade, is kind of that kind of a person. And, but I tried to read one of his earlier books, and I don't know, whatever, I was not in the proper place, or just, it didn't work. DNF, did not finish. So, but I was at the library a couple days ago and browsing, and this one just sort of was sitting there in the new book rack, wanting to be picked up by me, and I did pick it up. Actually, there were 2 Cory Doctorow books in the new book rack. I went back for the other one today. This is another one. This is not a Martin Hench book. This is another novel. So I don't know. There were 2, so I actually picked this one because it was shorter. All right, even though the content of the other one looked kind of more interesting in a way, but I was really impressed by this book. I can't think of a time, maybe it was a few years ago when I read the Memoirs of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Theodore Roszak, that I had the feelings that I got out of reading this one. And, that's one of my favorite novels that I often speak about. But this one, I don't know what it did to me, but I found it very moving emotionally. Even though it's not particularly sentimental in any way. It's there's a lot of really horrible injustice in it that's described. Injustice perpetrated by power, by the state, and by venture capitalists, horrible capitalist types, the 1%, I guess, and entrapping people. It has private prison content. What goes on is we start out, it's a crime novel. It's a interesting, fun novel, and it starts out on Catalina Island. Catalina Island, I've heard of Catalina Island forever. I think that's where Natalie Wood died, off Catalina Island on the boat. Anyway, Catalina Island, some background about Catalina Island. Apparently, Wrigley, the Wrigley chewing gum guy, had bought that island and developed it, and made it a resort area, and built a casino on it, way back whenever. And, it became it's 26 miles offshore of like LA, I guess. So it became a getaway spot for the rich and famous, so forth. And he built this casino there, but he prohibited gambling because gambling brought in crime, and there's no crime on Catalina Island, which is what is stated here several times in the book. No crime on Catalina Island. And he, Marty, is a forensic accountant. So the hero of this crime series is a forensic accountant. And what that means is he gets gigs every once in a while, when he's running low on dough, and what he has to do is dig through the books of whatever virulent millionaires who are hiding money here and there, and discovers where the money is hidden, and then gets a percentage of the money as it is delivered back to where it's really supposed to be. So that's what the notion of this forensic accountant is. So Martin is a forensic accountant, and he's invited out to Catalina by a friend of his who has just this is in the early it's like 2006, I think it starts. So this is a .com guy whose website has just been purchased by Yahoo, and so he's flush with millions suddenly. So he treats and he's like 23 years old. So he treats Marty, who is somewhat older, to a vacation trip on a weekend on Catalina Island. They fly in on a helicopter and they stay in beautiful places. They stay at Zane Grey's house, I think they say it's Zane Grey's house, because Zane Grey, the novelist of Western novel fame, lived on Catalina Island, or had a vacation place on Catalina Island, so they rent his place to stay, and that's really special and great. And so they go to a party and meet some people, and he meets Junior Lionel Coleman Jr., who is people that don't like him call him Junior because he doesn't like to be called Junior. And Junior is the son of some kind of a hotel owner dude. So he's already rich from his father, and so he's going to become even richer because of his father, and the ruthless things he tries to do to accumulate money. And so it's all about how ruthless these capitalists are, these money people are, and the damage that they do on our society, and trying to unpack all that. Marty's friend Scott gets caught up in a web of stuff, and it all comes out of this hamburger thing. On the Bezzle is where there's a scam going on, or like a multi-level thing or whatever, and it's all kind of working for the moment. The Bezzle is as I understand it from reading the novel, the Bezzle is the sweet spot where everybody's kind of happy with what's going on, before it all falls apart, and people start owing either of it and finding that there's no money around really because it's all gone to the top. So that's the name of the book, The Bezzle. And so what goes on is they on Catalina Island, they get picked up by this guy Antonio, who's a local, and so Antonio's family's been there forever, and he's when the Scott comes in with Martin, he brings In-N-Out burgers. And the funny is, because I've been listening to watching Due Dissidence, political commentary show on YouTube and Rumble, and I quite like it. A couple New Yorkers, and actually one of them has been out to LA hosting the Jimmy Dore show, which is another show I like to watch. So he has been out there talking about the In-N-Out burger. So funny, this In-N-Out burger pops into this book when I'm like, I never heard of In-N-Out burger before. I'm not really LA centric. I was out there, oh God, like in 1980, around that time. So it's been a long time since I've been in California at all, and I'm just not really a West Coastern type. It seems like bonkers crazy out there. So anyway, they discover through Antonio this thing with the hamburgers, because there's a rule that you can't have fast food on Catalina Island, so people bring in fast food, and there's this whole sort of system of distributing the fast food to the rich people that, you know, some are there or whatever, and everybody who has who wants In-N-Out burgers or McDonald's from the shore when you can't get them in Catalina Island. So they discover this whole system going on, but they find out that it's really this sort of a scam thing where all the money's going to go at the top, and they tell Antonio he's going to get screwed, and you better find out, you know, and tell your friends, tell your other local friends that this rich guy is really the one running this, and you're all being screwed, and that is Lionel Coleman Jr. And that's the setup, the beginning of the setup with this Lionel Coleman Jr., the hotel heir, and what goes on from there. So Lionel gets pissed off at Scott and Marty that that they've blown his little thing there. And anyway, things get very rough for the Scott character, and Marty sticks by the Scott character. And the novel goes into the intricacies of private prisons, and I think that's part that really got to me, in that you know, there were all these, you know, hundreds of thousands of people in these private prisons in I guess the California prison system, and they cannot have visitors. They're given these tablets where every interaction is through the tablet, so they never see anyone anymore except through calls through the tablet, which cost $3 a minute for audio calls and $8 a minute for really blurry, pixelated, crappy video calls. And, you know, also anything else they might want, like, you know, music and books and all this stuff is sold to them at a profit by the people who own the private prison and set up this company, you know. How they do is they spread out in all these other LLCs, whatever, and so, you know, it's a really hellish situation that everyone is put in, and Scott is put in. So yeah, I'll reveal that part, because, you know, it's okay to know that Scott gets put in prison. You don't know why, and I'm not going to, you know, tell you. And because I really think that this is a book that I can absolutely recommend. You know, even if you're not really in the crime genre, if you care about what's going on in America right now or globally, it is completely relevant. And you know, I was just really kind of impressed with this book very, very much, and I just loved it. And so, you know, it all gets kind of unraveled eventually, and it all builds and builds, and this thing goes on and that thing. You know, there's this financial stuff going on, but it's well written in that you don't have to really, you know, you don't get bogged down by the financial stuff. It's not a tedium in that sort of way of you know, it's not a lot of data and a lot of that kind of facts that bore someone who's not interested in math, for instance, which, you know, basically me. I'm interested in people and political movements and, you know, money and all that kind of stuff, and power and things like that, but not particularly, you know, accounting. So we don't get bogged down by the accounting, but there's enough so you can know how he's working with all these things to make it all work. There's a lot of atmosphere of California. There's some thuggish stuff going on, some violence. Our hero Martin is not like a gun-toting tough guy or anything like that. It's all kind of intellectual, smart, interesting people. Oh, there's mushrooms and LSD. A lot of LSD in the book. How to smuggle LSD into prisons. And actually, when they go to you know, they're kind of the rich guys when they go to the island with, you know, Scott invites him to Catalina Island at the beginning. You know, they party. They're taking mushrooms, and you know, Scott really likes mushrooms. He's not a cocaine guy. There is cocaine around, but he's not really a cocaine guy. So mushrooms, and they all drink. So there's, you know, drinking too, and drinking, you know, high-end fancy liquor. So you know. So you know, if you have to have your crime tough guy be a drinker, well, you're still set with this, because there is drinking, but added on to that, there's also mushrooms and this sort of LSD kind of plot that's going on in the background. And this is just really great, and I'm going to definitely read the other Martin Hench book, the first one, which is Red Team Blues. And I think I might get that one in audiobook. And the cool thing, one of the cool things about Cory Doctorow is young. He's only 52 years old, and he is also, you know, kind of an activist. So his books. At the end, the acknowledgments, he talks about digital rights management, DRM, with ebooks and so forth. And he says, you know, Amazon does not DRM the books. So if you want a DRM free book, you can get that through Amazon, but not Audible. Audible does not do DRM free books, audiobooks. So he is. Cory Doctorow is producing them himself with Will Wheaton, some actor. And so I think I'm going to probably get the Red Team Blues audiobook and listen to it at work, and give Cory Doctorow $20 and his production team for the work that he's doing. He seems to be really successful. There's lots of Cory Doctorow books, fiction, nonfiction, all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's impressive guy from Canada, and you know, I think you might want to check out the work of Cory Doctorow. I think he also has a website, and there's some. You can find him on Team Human. You can find him other places talking to people. You want to do that. So, the Bezzle by Cory Doctorow. I'm standing behind it. I can stand in front of it, read it. It's fabulous if you like to read books. I really enjoyed this one a lot. It made me shiver and brought some tears to my eye, really, honest to God. And it was a great experience. And thank you, Cory Doctorow, for writing this book. I very much enjoyed it. You know, good job, comrade.